If you are currently, testing or currently waiting to retest, you're going to want to make sure you get that in before August 24th, because after August 24th, C-STEMs gets shut down, and August 28th is when they introduce the new system, and the new system will not be able to accommodate the old test. So you would then have to get a new permit. As well as start all over with, from the pre-trip and the backing, to complete your test.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the podcast, Caution Wide Right. It's just another trucking podcast, and today we're gonna highlight some important news for those looking to hire new CDL drivers, or if you are looking to get your CDL and become a driver. The CDL test is changing in a few states, especially here in Pennsylvania, starting August 28th, 2023. Some of the changes will make the test easier. Some of the changes are going to make the test harder. To help me break this down, I have Jolyn Graham, Vice President of Operations here at CNS Driver Training Center, the first CDL school with a one-on-one CDL program to be approved in Pennsylvania, and the first CDL hotshot program to be approved in Pennsylvania, possibly the United States, and some say the world. But who better to lead our CDL school than Jolyn, who has been working in the trucking industry as a trucker with 10 years of experience and over 1 million miles, ranging from pickup truck and a trailer to a Class A tractor trailer hauling oversized loads. Jolyn, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Luke. I'm glad to be back.
Well, before we begin, I'm curious what first got you in the trucking industry?
Well, I've always been interested in trucks. So trucking has always been in my family. As long as I can remember, my father's had his CDL. Uncles and cousins, most of them have their CDL. Most of my brothers have their CDL. Grew up with, looking at trucks, posters of trucks on the wall, always dreaming of driving that, shiny truck. So it was inevitable that at some point I would get my CDL.
And we were at Matt's this last year, and I remember you walking around. You're a Chrome guy, right? Looking at all the cool stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I love Chrome. Can't get enough of Chrome.
Do you have a favorite truck, favorite make?
Yes. My favorite truck would probably be a 359 Peterbilt.
And CB handle? Did you have one?
I did have a CB handle. It was the Cadillac Kid, because I tried my hand at car sales and I sold Cadillacs for a short period of time. So going from sales.
That succeeded very well, obviously. And
oh, yes.
So what's your favorite food to grab while on the road?
I drove, and all of a sudden I'm hungry type of guy, and then I have to, grab whatever is near. But if I could, stop, I always did chicken sandwiches for some reason. So it didn't really matter, can't really go wrong with a chicken sandwich.
Popeyes, KFC, Burger King.
I, would prefer, well, let's see here.
Matters where you're at.
Yeah, it depends on where you're at. But I'd prefer a Chick-fil-A sandwich. You can never go wrong with a Chick-fil-A sandwich. But it depends. Whatever they had, most places offer a chicken sandwich. Burger King, McDonald's. It's better than a greasy burger in my opinion.
Now we're going to talk about some CDL, getting your CDL, the testing process, the training. I'm just curious, before we dive too much into that, what was it like getting your CDL back in the day, and how has it changed to today?
Oh, it definitely has changed a lot. Everybody asked me, how hard is it? And I said, well, it's easy for me now because I train it and I help create, the program that we have.
Right.
But I remember, getting my CDL, the only thing that, was pretty much spot on the same was the air brake test. I bombed that the first time. I tried to cram it in there and memorize it the day of, and I forgot all the steps. So I took a little bit of extra time going in my second round, memorized it, passed that portion of it. But as far as the pre-trip itself, it was very short, very basic, pop the hood, check the fluids, mainly oil and coolant, check my lights, check my tires. And, it seemed like, less than 15 minutes later, the pre-trip was done, and, that was it.
And now, I mean, for most people, a pre-trip probably takes 30, 45 minutes or longer, right? It's like, maybe not the test right now, but like, you could probably get it done pretty quick though, right?
Yes. So I have time myself,
Yeah,
and the current standards, before the change here, the fastest I've done it was 28 minutes flat, start to finish, including the air brake check. But that's about to change, and they estimate about 15 to 20 minutes for a full pre-trip.
That's interesting. So it sounds like it's going to be making it easier, which we'll cover in just a second. But you're here, you're giving back to the next generation of drivers. When it comes to getting your commercial driver's license, a student needs to pass both that knowledge theory side and then the behind the wheel skills test. Many of you may be familiar that the ELDT changes happened in February last year, where FMCSA added new CDL training requirements that affected the knowledge theory portion. Now, the changes that are happening that we're going to discuss is more the behind the wheel skills portion, which is changing here in Pennsylvania. And again, a few other states might be doing this. California might be, Texas, I think Maryland. Because of the differences in states, there's different tests out there, right? And different states can adopt different tests.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. And so the behind the wheel skills test, this is changing because of the push for the CDL test modernization. The behind the wheel skills test, this is separated into 3 sections. It's the vehicle inspection test, which has some new changes. The basic control skills test, that's like your maneuvers. New updates coming here. And then there's the road test, which is going to be remaining the same. Let's start with the vehicle inspection test. What is changing here?
The original pre-trip that we did, hit on a lot of points and a lot of different components. That was basically, me repeating myself for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So what they did was eliminated all those parts that, like the axle, for example. You will only have to do one axle.
Right.
Every axle has, if it's equipped with air brakes, it has a suspension system, has brakes, has wheels and tires. So you would do that multiple times throughout a test, whereas now, breaking it down, you only have to do one axle because
they sort of just grouped it together,
yep.
right? Yeah.
So now you do it once. If you know how to inspect your front axle, it goes to say you know how to inspect the rest of the axles on the truck and trailer.
Right. So that's nice because then it's not like you're going to miss something as you go around the trailer. Oh, I forgot the 4th wheel or 4th whatever. So it sounds like the grouping is going to be making it a little bit easier.
Yes. So, the biggest thing in the pre-trip is the air brake check. And that's one of the things that they changed. It used to be you could, it used to be, you would start with the outside, complete the whole outside,
right.
Then, finish up with the in-cab, and then do your air brake check. But, if you fail your air brake check, that is an automatic fail. And so what they've done is now they start with the in-cab. So if you do, commit that auto fail, test is over. And, that's it. You don't have to waste all that time,
right.
Walking around the outside of the truck.
And then that's the air brake. So the hydraulic brake, that's the new piece that they added to it. That wasn't before, right? For the automatic fail.
That is correct.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know here at CNS Driver Training Center, if you're getting your CDL through us, we are still going to train the entire pre-trip inspection, every single piece of it. And make sure drivers are ready for the road in for real life. I know some of the CDL schools out there, they just try to get you to pass as quickly as possible, but it's not what we do here.
Absolutely. No, we want you to be knowledgeable and we want you to be comfortable and confident when you get out on the road.
Yeah. Speaking of confidence, I know the thing that always worries me is the whole maneuver side of it. So what is changing? So the basic control skills test, I believe there's 3 maneuvers, backing maneuvers basically, currently. How is that changing? What were they and how are they changing moving forward?
One of the changes coming, and the first maneuver that every driver will have to do is the forward stop,
Right.
And so studies have shown there's more rear end collisions, attributed to not knowing where the front of your truck is. In my opinion, we got to put the phones down. That attributes to not knowing where the front of your truck is as well. But no, it is important to know where the front of your truck is, especially those that drive, long hoods or bigger trucks. It's tough to see exactly where that, nose sits.
Right.
So, adding the forward stopping that, the nose of your truck, the very foremost, or the very front of your truck, within a 3-foot box, helps you to gauge and know exactly, where where the front of your truck is.
Yeah, and I know we're going to have some video popping up or an image as well, sort of showing what this looks like. The 3-foot box sounds doable. It looks harder from looking out at the grouping out there. So it's going to be interesting to watch drivers practice that as well. So that's the forward stop. So the other option that isn't changing the maneuver is the straight line backing. It's going to be the same thing, right?
Yes, that's correct. The straight line backing is going to stay exactly the same. Straight line backing is incorporated in every single maneuver.
Yeah.
At some point you're going to get your truck straight and you're going to have to learn how to back it up straight. So, got to keep that one in there.
Definitely. And so the other two, so there's two others from the previous, how we're currently doing it, was the offset either to the right or the left backing. And then there was like an option for like alley dock or the parallel parking maneuver, but there's sort of some changes moving forward. So tell me a little bit about the forward offset tracking.
Yes. I see it a lot of times, out there with young drivers. They're pulling away, they're pulling around something, misjudging where their trailer is going to track. And next thing their trailer is, the trailer tandems are running over something or hitting something. So they've added the forward, offset, where, it's going to help drivers know exactly, when to turn and how to maneuver their trailer by pulling forward to the left and, tracking their rear outside tire
right.
within a 4-foot box, 3-foot box. So to be able to precisely pull around something and, make sure that you don't track your trailer too short or too wide.
Right. Makes sense. And then the other one is the reverse offset backing. Walk me through this one.
So the reverse offset backing pretty much takes the parallel park, the offset, and the alley dock, and pretty much combines them into one. Starting off with the parallel parking and the offset, you start off exactly, the same, backing into the opposite lane. The only difference is with an offset back, you have a whole lot more room to work with, whereas with the parallel park, you're backing into a confined space with only, 15 additional feet, to the length of, the overall length of your vehicle.
Yeah.
So they've kind of taken that and given you a parallel park, combined with an offset. And if you do a perfect, offset, you can do a perfect, parallel park.
Right.
So the only difference was, you have a whole lot more room to pull up with the offset. That's being taken away. It's going to eliminate that, but it's going to create better, stronger drivers.
Right.
Now, the third part, adding in the alley dock, is the 3-foot box. You're still backing into the same width of lane, and approximately the same length. Right. So, that part stays the same, and as well as the 3-foot box. To end your maneuver, you must end with the very tail end of your vehicle within that 3-foot box. I always tell guys, imagine a warehouse with the, big old foam cushions around the warehouse doors. That's where you want to be, up against that foam. Yep. But any further than that, you're going through a concrete wall there. So, you want to know where the back of that vehicle is. And it just kind of streamlines things and making sure people know where the back of their vehicle is, as well as backing and switching lanes safely and properly.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of the modernization of the test was sort of, hey, what are we seeing are common issues out there right now with current drivers? Let's train the drivers to potentially not make these mistakes as they get into their careers. But it does sort of sound like it's a little bit harder just because there's little things that they have to hit correctly, and instead of choosing one of two maneuvers for that last backing maneuver, It's a little bit of all of them.
Yep. It takes away from the pressure of me deciding, which one do I want to choose today?
Right.
And it takes away the option of, a tester coming in going, well, I only practice one. I need you to give me this one, backing maneuver for my third option. I've had that all the time, and I had to remind them, hey, that's not up to you. That's a decision, that is left up to the examiner or the, school that is doing the testing. It does eliminate and take that pressure off of a, examiner, because for me, I always hate, seeing people fail, as a person that did training, as well as someone that, does the, testing as well, it's sometimes hard to take off that trainer's hat and put on that examiner's hat and, be stern and be like, nope, I can't, make it easier for you. I have to make it fair. But it eliminates that and just makes it fair across the board now.
So for new people looking to get their CDL, how will this affect them moving forward? So maybe they haven't gotten started or anything. Why should they, or what should they consider moving forward getting their CDL?
Personally, I really don't think it changes anything. The only person that wouldn't have to go through the ELDT behind the wheel is somebody that previously held a CDL. They would be exempt from the ELDT. If you've had your CDL and you're a professional driver before and, you let it lapse, I always say it's like jumping on a bike. I took a break from trucking, came back, and, a few weeks later I felt, just as comfortable as I did, when I was doing it every day before taking that break. So those guys, if you're thinking of getting your CDL again, previously having one, it really, shouldn't be too hard to figure out. Coming in as a new driver, it really, doesn't change the training you get because ELDT still requires training of, straight line, parallel, offset, and the alley dock. Yep. And seeing that you're going to be getting the training on those backing maneuvers anyhow, and that, the new maneuvers combine all of those, you should know how to do it. If you get a little practice doing it, it sets up a little bit differently. But if you're proficient in backing, it should be very easy to adapt.
And then for those that are currently in a school, in a training program, especially here in Pennsylvania, if they either say fail their test before the 28th or actually before the 24th, we'll talk about that in a second. But if they fail their tests soon, what's it going to look like, retaking a test or after the 28th? How does it affect them?
Pennsylvania, revamped, their entire testing, system there, pretty much because it's a whole new test. Pennsylvania's system, that we use to, document, can only handle, one test, either the new test or the old test. Yep. So if you are currently testing or currently waiting to retest, you're going to want to make sure you get that in before August 24th, because after August 24th, C-STEMS gets shut down, and August 28th is when they introduce the new system, and the new system will not be able to accommodate the old test. So you would then have to get a new permit. As well as start all over with, from the pre-trip and the backing, to, complete your test.
Yep. So doing it twice almost again.
Yep.
Crazy. And then for, let's say the carriers out there, sending drivers in, other things like that, what do they need to worry about in the next couple of weeks?
There's really not much that's, going to change, for the carriers. Everybody's going to be taking the exact same test. Whether you're, completing contract training with us or coming through our Class A proficiency or hotshot, course, our training is going to be the same. Yep. You get the same theory knowledge and you will get the same behind the wheel training regardless of, which program you come through. Yep.
Perfect. All right. So Jolyn, thanks again for joining us here on the podcast. If you are looking to receive your get CDL training, look at CNS Driver Training Center here in Lititz, PA. We have people coming from out of state, all across the country, here in Pennsylvania, of course, as well. We have some of the best trainers. Jolyn, of course, always out there involved. And, we do the one-on-one training. We have, you can do the theory portion, much of it online. So there's so much options, flexibility. If you're, want to get it done in just a few weeks, or if it's just one of those things where if you want to take a couple months, maybe you're working after hours, things like that, and want to tackle that training at your own pace, it's all flexible to be able to fit that kind of a schedule. If you have any other questions about what this looks like, we're going to have a video very shortly talking about everything, showing exactly what's changing out in our testing area, as well as you can check out our article at cnstrains.com. We go over all the details, the why, the what's going to change soon, and you can get all of that information on there. You can also click the link below to reach out to CNS Driver Training Center, get started with your CDL training, and get into the career in the trucking industry. With that, again, thank you, Jolyn. Like, subscribe, and as always, stay safe out there.